perhaps the hardest-hitting batsman of the modern era. He was the finest all-round fielder of his time. He appeared almost regal at the crease, but away from it, he was shy and reserved. A destroyer of even the finest fast bowling, Viv Richards is one of ESPN's legends of cricket.
Good shot. No need to run for that one.
1976, England captain Tony Greig bragged that his team would make the touring West Indians grovel. By the end of the series, it was the English team that was in need of mercy.
Hammered away mercifully through the offside.
Leading the assault was Vivian Richards.
And it's short, that's it. And a tremendous performance is by Vivian Richards. 200 in a test match on this ground, following in the footsteps of the great Frank Worrell and Basil Butcher before him.
The 76 West Indies-England series began with the headlines all revolving around Greig's grovel comment. And Richards came out on the very first day of the series and batted most of the day, batting from number 3, and finished the day at 143 not out, and went on the next day to score 232. And you could not have imagined a more effective way to push Tony Greig's words back straight down his throat.
And a superb exhibition by this brilliant West Indian cricketer, Vivian Richards.
I said, we'll make them grovel. Oh, that has chased me all over the world, and I deserve it for sure, because it was a very inappropriate word to use, and of course the West Indians then went about showing me how inappropriate it was. And the likes of Michael Holding in particular, Clive Lloyd and others, I mean, they let me have it. Viv, all of them, they let me have it verbally in every which way.
Vivian Richards will always be remembered, certainly in England, for the effect he had on the 1976 series. He hit 2 double centuries in that series in 1976, 232 at Trent Bridge in the first test of the summer, which really set the standard for the rest of the series, and also 291 at the Oval.
Well, that's 4 more. That is a super shot.
Richards had an extraordinary eye and reflexes. He was able to dominate and intimidate opposition attacks.
Vivian Richards just blasting away, showing utter arrogance.
If you've got a batsman like Viv Richards, sure you've got a plan A, a B, a C and a D, and you better be prepared to go through them all a few times. But he could ruin all your plans very quickly by the way he played and by the way he thought. I think the thing that sums up Viv Richards' batting best is by one of the finest bowlers that played in his era, Imran Khan. And Imran Khan said, the only batsman who ever intimidated me was Viv Richards.
Very few batsmen make as big a statement with their presence as Viv Richards. It looked like he had tennis balls under each arm as he walked out, you know, and he was always sweating when he came to the crease. But it was like, this is my stage. He might come to the wicket, it might be 3 for 30, but sorry, the rules are about to change. I'm Viv. And that was the way he approached every innings that he played.
Well, can you believe it? The West Indies poised on the brink of disaster. And what an arrogant shot played by the man. It bounced back into the field of play 20 metres.
I don't think I've ever seen a batsman who went out to the middle with that kind of swagger. And you almost could sense that the bowlers and the opposition were shaking in their boots when he came out. He had that presence.
Lovely shot by Richards. Picked it up beautifully.
And he was a strong man, hit the ball like thunder, remarkable eyesight.
He picked it up so early, he picked the line and the length up so early, he automatically seemed to be in a position to play that attacking shot. I think that's the hallmark of the very greatest.
If I were picking a World 11 of all the great players that I've seen, And in my time as a player and as an umpire, Viv would be my number 3 batsman without a shadow of doubt. He used to murder attacks. Once he got in, he'd murder attacks. Tremendous, wonderful eye. Great player, man. Great player. I mean, he got to be one of the greatest that's ever lived, Viv. Tremendous.
We're playing the West Indies at the Adelaide Oval in the 79-80 series, and Lenny Pascoe ran in and bowled 3 bounces in a row to Viv. And as Lenny was walking back, and it was 6 ball overs, as he was walking past the umpire, Umpire Max O'Connell said, "Len, that'll be enough for this over." And this voice came from the other end, "Don't stop him, Max."
Arrogantly swatted away behind square for 4 runs.
In 1969, the 17-year-old Richards was already a star attraction on his home island of Antigua. In 1972, Richards was playing first-class cricket for the Leeward Islands.
He had a big influence on the smaller islands of the West Indies, who were outside the mainstream up until 1966. Viv started his first-class career in 1972, so it was only 6 years after the Windwards, who were St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Dominica, Grenada, and his own home island, Antigua, St. Kitts, the small islands, were brought in. And all of a sudden they had this star. So that made the small islands lift everyone there, gave them a tremendous boost of confidence.
In 1973, he was playing county cricket for Somerset alongside Ian Botham.
Somerset meant everything to him. That was his first big chance, as it was with me. So it meant a great deal to him, and we learned a lot. We learned about life together. We learned well, we didn't learn much about cooking, but we learned about most things together. And I was privileged and lucky enough to grow, and the two of us grew together. But to grow up, it was absolutely magnificent to watch his career going, and I would take as much interest in what he was doing as he would in what I was doing.
First time I played against Viv Richards, he was playing for, I think, the President's 11 at Montego Bay. And we didn't know who this guy was apart from the name Richards on the scoreboard. Jeff Hammond was bowling, no slouch, lively, could swing the ball out, and suddenly, bang, 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 3 balls in a row, straight back over his head for 4, very early in his innings. And then he's nicked one and caught behind, I think, something from a good outswing. We've all gathered around and we're congratulating Bomber, as we used to call him, Bomber Hammond, on a good piece of bowling. And Bomber just shook his head. He said, you can't keep batting like that and getting away with it. And what we were to find out in later years was that Viv could keep batting like that and getting away with it.
3 future great West Indian players made their Test debuts in 1974. Andy Roberts, Gordon Greenwich, and Viv Richards.
He did come along at a time when the West Indies were all powerful. The 1974-75 tour of India was his first, was Gordon Greenwich's first for Clive Lloyd as captain, and they all gelled together, of course, and felt confident. They were all confident. They felt they could do anything, and I think Viv's whole attitude rubbed off on the rest of the team.
In his first Test match against India, Richards struggled with the fast leg spin of Bhagwat Chandrasekhar. He made amends in the second, scoring 192 not out. In the inaugural World Cup final at Lord's in 1975, Viv Richards failed with the bat, but he still had a profound effect on the game.
Oh, and there must be a run out here. He must be out.
In an era when fielding standards reached new heights, Richards was supreme.
In that 1975 World Cup final, Australia v West Indies, he turned the match with his brilliant fielding. I mean, I think it was only his first, I think it could have been only his second match for the West Indies. And his fielding in the mid-wicket areas and the cover point areas was outstanding, and he ran 3 of the Australian batsmen out when they were really set and they were going, and I think if he hadn't run them out, I think Australia would have won it.
And Bobby Process is running out.
It's just the speed with which he moved in comparison with what we had in those days. I mean, I guess now with modern one-day cricket, he probably wouldn't have been that remarkable. But it was just, you know, the man for the occasion. Here it was the final. West Indies got the better of it, and probably one of the key things was these 3 key run-outs.
The 1975-76 tour of Australia began badly for Richards. He failed to reach 50 in any of the first 4 tests. His place in the team was in jeopardy. Opening the batting for the last 2 tests and facing Lilly and Thompson, Richards made 30, 101, 50 and 98. His ability to take on new ball bowlers was recognised and his place assured.
When Viv Richards hit the ball, there was a different sound to it, had a different energy. He was just something special. He's the godfather of one-day cricket. He's the one that invented the going down the pitch and the backing away, hitting over extra and doing all this weird and wonderful stuff. You know, he did stuff that great players dreamt of. God, I wish he played for Australia. Oh, over those years. But Sir Vivian Richards, they don't make him any better.
Viv Richards, all I'm grateful for is that I didn't have to bowl to him. The contempt he sort of gave to bowlers, you know, like everybody's walking out with helmets on and armour over the arm and rib cage protection. Viv used to walk out and you knew full well that you could see the brown skin through the shirt. You could see the cap at a rakish angle on the head and say, well, come on, you serve it up to me, mate, I'm ready for you.
Short ball straight away, and Richards confidently smashes it to the boundary. Oh, is he looking dangerous?